Hey everybody, Kate Payne here from Standing Out Online, and thank you for joining me on my Coffee with Kate show. Our guest, Andy Foote, who is trying to get in, we're having a few little technical difficulties, so stay tuned and we'll have Andy here right away. So I'm happy to have you here with me today to be having coffee, and Andy is in the house.
Finally.
I,
Ooh,
I don't know
sorry
what
for
happened, but
sorry for
Mercury's
being
not in
late.
retrograde, so we can't even blame that.
We can't blame what?
We can't blame Mercury retrograde this time.
No, we can't. Hold on a second.
Okay, well, you're live and in line. You've got the original Coffee with Kate mug. This is the new Coffee with Kate mug with our new branding. So you've got a relic.
I've got a relic and I've got tea, not coffee.
Okay, I have coffee actually. So Andy Foote is in the house. I'm so excited for you to be here with us. Thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure, Kate. Always a pleasure to speak with you, both live and otherwise.
One of these dates we're going to meet in real life, aren't we?
It's gonna happen.
It is going to happen.
Yeah.
So, Andy, I have known Andy Foote for quite some time. Many of you who might be just starting to tune in right now know Andy to be an incredible LinkedIn expert. I consider him a colleague and a friend. And we met first through Google Plus when you took over the Google Plus group for the LinkedIn user group from when Vivica von Rosen created it.
Right. I mean, that was what, 2-3 years ago? Feels
Even more than that, I think.
longer. Yeah.
Yeah, longer than that. And since Google Plus was going away, then Andy started it's the acronym is LAUGH, LinkedIn Action User Group Heroes, right?
Correct. Yes.
And so we went
yes.
to just like, because all LinkedIn people do this, then we went to a Facebook group.
Yep.
Which is a testament that the group's experience on LinkedIn still needs some help.
That's putting it very kindly.
It is putting it very kindly. And now we are in Discord.
Yes, well, still in Facebook. So the LAUGH group, LinkedIn Action User Group Heroes, is still going strong in Facebook. But I wanted to try a different platform because, well, I think a lot of people hold their nose when they do anything with Facebook.
I know.
Now rebranded as Meta. I mean, how gross is that? So, exactly. like they can own the whole Meta space. It's quite arrogant. But yeah, so yeah, we're on Discord still, and Facebook, and perhaps one day there'll be a LAUGH community on LinkedIn where it really belongs.
Where it definitely really belongs.
Yeah.
So Andy, we are going to do sort of like what we did. We almost did this about a year ago. I would like us to do, since we are having coffee/tea together today, I would like to do a sort of an Ask Us Anything. And so people are still kind of coming in here, but I have plenty of topics to get us started.
Awesome. Yes, I'd love to talk about the bell. That's a one, and I'd love to talk about LinkedIn audio. Love to talk about newsletters, etc., etc. But I'm sure you got this. And we are so pally, we are so friendly that we don't need to talk about these things before we arrange them. We just say, "Hey, Andy, come on my show," and I said, "I'll be there with bells on."
And you are, and now we have a bell. That's a great segue.
Didn't even think about that.
We didn't even plan that.
No, that was weird.
So let's start with that. I want to cover the things that you mentioned, plus a couple other things.
Yeah.
And I'm opening up to the comments here. So,
sure.
My friend Pat Morris is online.
Hey, Patrick.
And so LinkedIn has been coming out with a whole bunch of new features and changing the user interface again recently. It's pretty fascinating for those of us who've been in the LinkedIn world for a while. LinkedIn would roll out a few new changes maybe every several months. There wasn't a lot going on, but the last couple of years, and especially this past year, LinkedIn has been really rolling out a lot of new changes. So let's start with the bell. And it always makes me think of that song, and I can't remember the woman.
You can ring my bell, ring my bell.
Yeah,
Anita.
Yeah, Anita something. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
So let's just talk about what that is, because I've been
sure.
certainly sharing that with my clients, but I'll let you take it away here.
Absolutely. So, I think big picture, what's interesting to me about the bell is why. That's a question I ask a lot about
Right.
stuff that happens on LinkedIn. Why, and not just why, but why now? Because if you think, Kate, I mean, how long have we had access to LinkedIn Publisher?
Oh
Can you
my
remember
gosh.
when we first started?
I would say I would say 5 years ago ish. I
At
think
least, right?
at least. Yeah.
And ever since we started publishing,
Yeah.
we were asking for a way to cement our base and to keep building, expanding upon our audience, our tribe,
Right.
and and not to be subject to the vagaries of the algorithm. And a subscriber device is really what we were asking for from the get-go.
Hmm.
And so it's very curious why LinkedIn all of a sudden should have provided exactly what we've been asking for, ever since we started writing and creating.
Right.
So that's very interesting to me, and I wonder. And this is purely speculative, Kate. I wonder if this is a defensive maneuver by LinkedIn because they are obviously savvy and they keep an eye on legislation. And I think they can tell that perhaps the way it's going to go down is that legislators are going to be critical of any online platform that
Hmm.
that does not give some amount of control to the user.
Correct.
And the algorithm is clearly that it's controlled by LinkedIn, and they manipulate the content flows on LinkedIn, and they do that via the algorithm. So I wonder if this is a defensive move to prevent the charge, the accusation that we don't have any kind of self-control or any control over what we see. So the bell, therefore, is a great bulwark against
I love
that
that word.
accusation, that charge, right? Because now Lincoln can say, well, actually, our members have the opportunity to decide what they see, and they can do. Furthermore, they can see this by the bell that we've given them, which notifies every time someone that, if I want to see all of your stuff, then I click on that bell and I will be fed
Right.
on whenever you publish. So therefore, there are two options here. You can do algo, but you can do bell. And
Hmm.
so that's what I think's potentially happening. Because why now, right?
No,
Why?
it just kind of
Why?
like showed up.
Yeah, all of a sudden, and with no fanfare. I mean, LinkedIn doesn't do fanfare really, but it just
I never announced
suddenly
it.
appeared. No explanation. No, you know what? We think we think we owe it to you, our members, for you, to be in charge of what you see, and if you want to follow certain people, because we know following in and of itself doesn't do that. If it
Right.
did, then great, we'd all be very happy bunnies. But it doesn't. It's merely a thumbs up. It's merely a hey, Kate,
Yeah.
I'd liked your stuff.
Right.
Will I see more of your stuff because I just click follow? No,
Right.
absolutely not. Because there's still an algorithmic device between you and me, and that action of following doesn't really mean following at all. So,
Right.
and the other thing I'd say about the bell is that it's pretty pointless from our perspective, because I can't see that you've clicked mine and I've
I
clicked
know.
yours.
There's no way to get a metric.
It's like hashtags, right?
Right.
If people follow your hashtag, you don't know who these people are.
Right.
And so that's naughty. I think LinkedIn needs to provide the data they undoubtedly have,
Hmm.
based on, along these lines, right? So I want to know who the bell
Still
ringers
ringer
are.
is.
The bell, right? Bell ringers. I want to know who the hashtag followers are, and start giving us more of that data. LinkedIn, you're being naughty. You're being unnecessarily greedy and protective of your data. I understand there are commercial reasons, and that you use that in a way that benefits you and your advertisers, etc. But I think you need to start giving users more of that info. And if it's the question of paying more for that data, sure, at least give us the option to I mean, in that case, in that sense, hey, Microsoft, LinkedIn is leaving money on the table. What do you think of that?
Right. You see what Barry Forward just posted? Power to the people, I guess. Power of the bell in the hands of the
Yeah,
visitor.
yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely, Barry.
Thank you for that,
Absolutely.
Barry. So let's just back up a little bit, just in case somebody isn't sure what we're talking about when we talk about the bell. So you can't see it on your own profile, because when you're in your profile, you're in edit mode. But if you go to other people's profiles, up in the upper right corner of the profile, just under the right side of the banner image, you'll see a bell. And if you click on the bell will go from white to gray. And what it does is you'll get a notification that says every time. So if you click on the bell on Andy Foote's profile page, you'll get a notification saying every time Andy Foote posts something, you'll get a notification in your notifications. And so this is something that you definitely want to use judiciously, because if you start going and clicking the bells on every profile, you're going to get like thousands of notifications.
Right.
And so like for me and what I do, and Andy and I do similar work, I am a LinkedIn profile writer. I'm a LinkedIn profile coach. I dare say I'm even a LinkedIn profile expert, but not as good as Andy Foote.
No, I'm not so sure about that. You're pretty
I have
good.
different strategies.
You're
I
pretty good.
look at LinkedIn a little bit differently. That's what makes us all kind of unique. But I follow, for example, all of my clients. So if I'm teaching them how to use LinkedIn strategically and as a marketing tool, obviously I want to see their posts so that I can see what they're doing and I can give them feedback, both, constructive and positive. So that's what the bell is. The other thing I've been suggesting, Andy, and feel free to jump in on this, is that I've been using the bell, the fact that you can use this in some of my messages. So if somebody invites me to connect with them and I reply and thank them, I say, if you're interested in keeping track of what I talk about when I talk about LinkedIn and its newest features and master classes that I do, etc., feel free to go to my profile and ring the bell if you want to make sure you don't miss anything from me. So I use that, again, judiciously, but that's another way to sort of carry on the conversation. What do you think about that?
It's well worth doing that, especially given that it's a brand new feature that won't be aware of.
Right.
And as you say, Kate, it's a weird concept if you're not a LinkedIn obsessive, right? If you're not
Like
if
we
you don't,
are.
yeah, and if you haven't been on the platform day in day out for a decade, like
Right.
you and me, so it is new. It's kind of weird because you cannot see it on your own profile, as you say. You only get to see it on other photos. And the way that LinkedIn have done it is, it's a bit quiet, isn't it? It's this like strange bell icon with no pop up, no explanation.
Nothing. There's not even like a little,
beneath it.
question mark where you could like hover over it to see what it does.
Yes, right. There's none of that. So
That seems like it'd be an easy fix.
it's unnecessarily mysterious.
Yes.
And furthermore, once you click on it, as you say, to gray it and to make it, something that then indicates, that you want to see every post that you or I then publish. There's no then, there's no confirmation that is actually going to happen. So in actual fact, this thing. You will not know about it unless you read about it or unless you've heard someone talk about it. You will not know about it. You may go to LinkedIn official help and read about it there. But D- for to LinkedIn for not giving us adequate publicity. I would love for LinkedIn to just continually advertise this wherever it is, on their blog, or from their some of their senior people, wherever they put their own official content. I would like them to reinforce that, look, this is a device that can help you build an audience,
Right.
and the other way around, to follow people who you think are interesting and valuable creators. So I'd like them to do that, but in failing that, then you have to do the advertising yourself, and I think that's a great call to action. Absolutely. And it's also one of these features where I forget what the other one was, but you don't see it on your own profile, so therefore it seems invisible.
Exactly.
And
People always go,
and
"Oh, I don't have a bell on mine." I'm like, you
right.
can't see it on yours.
And then in the rollout, because it's invisible anyway, you don't know if you've got it until you keep checking other people's profiles, and
Exactly.
you don't see it until you have it.
I know.
So it's like it's confusing AF.
AF.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We've got Andy Foote here today, who's a friend first and a colleague second. We've come to know each other through our shared love of LinkedIn and helping people learn how to use the platform better. If you have any questions for Andy today about anything having to do with LinkedIn, please put them in the comments and you will get them answered in real time. I also wanted to just quickly, just to kind of close the loop on the bell, is people have been asking me, well, then what's the difference between the follow button and the bell? And so you kind of addressed this at the beginning when we started talking about that. What would you say to somebody when they ask you that?
Yeah, so the main difference is that following is really just a like. If you think of if I follow you, Kate, then it's me saying, hey, thumbs up. You
Yep.
know, I'm interested in you as an individual. Either you're producing something or I have some kind of ulterior motive. You know, I don't think people follow you unless you've actually either done something good or they think that you can help them in some way. I think that's pretty clear. What I do like about following is as a device for then perhaps connecting.
Mm-hmm.
So I very much like the fact that people will follow me first, and then I'm aware. So if someone follows you or we're aware of them. They suddenly enter our sphere. And then if we are curious enough, we will check them out. So we do our own due diligence.
Right.
And if they wait in a few days or a week to send a connection request, then at least I'm aware. But if you just send a connection request cold, and I don't know you from Adam or Anne, then it's a harder ask.
Right.
So follow first. So we can, as I say, dogs can sniff each other's tails. It's gross, but that's what's happening.
Only you can think of that, Andy.
It's gross. It's gross, but that's exactly what's happening with the follow. We're sniffing each other's tails, and then if we're both amenable, then either you connect with me or vice versa.
Right.
So we do that little dance first, and that's what I like about follow. And there's no pressure either with a follow,
Correct.
is there? It's not like a connection request that you have to deal with then and there. So
Right.
that's why I tell all of my clients that they switch their connect button, their primary button, from connect to follow, because then we can do that little dance. So I think that's the smart approach. But the bell is entirely content related. The follow is people related or person related. The bell is all about, hey, I like what you're producing. I want to make, we're all busy. I don't want to miss anything. So if I click on your bell, at least I get notified next time you publish. And of course, you can switch it on and off. And I would say, hey, use Dunbar's number. So Dunbar, a British sociologist back in the 90s, said, hey, we could only be best friends with 150 people max. And I think that would be probably too many notifications going off during the week, 150 notifications. However, if you half that, I think that's probably reasonable. That's a reasonable workload. And if it isn't, start unclicking the bells of folks that are not producing regularly, or producing the stuff that you like.
Well, the very first bell I clicked on, Andy, was yours.
You are so sweet.
Rang your
you
bell.
are so sweet. Thank you,
And
Kate.
look who's in the house. Liam Darmody is in here saying hello to both of us.
The great Liam
I'll get you on my show.
Yeah, Liam needs to go. Liam's as you mentioned, he's a friend of ours. He's a very bright, very capable guy, and I just love the way he is in front of the camera. He's relaxed and he's a sharer, kind individual. Liam, you can send me that $25 at any time you want, buddy, for saying those nice things.
All right, we've got 3 questions coming up, so I'm going to do this. I'll post the question. Barry asks, what does following your custom hashtag mean now?
All right,
Great.
it's interesting the way that he's he's added the mean now.
Yeah, I know, because it
Right.
changes.
Yes. Yeah, Barry, excellent question. I don't think it has changed in any sense. Should you produce a custom hashtag and use it wherever you produce or create content? Absolutely, because it builds an audience. We don't know anything about that audience because we don't know who has followed that hashtag, how often they've clicked on it, what time of day they click on it, who else they've clicked on. All of that good stuff is hoarded. That data is hoarded by LinkedIn. We need that. But let's say, Barry, for example, LinkedIn has a change of heart and decides to give us hashtags 2.0 on LinkedIn. That could be a game changer, because if you've got whatever, let's say you've got over 1,000 followers of your personal hashtag, then all of a sudden that's either a different segment or the same part of your crowd. Let's call them the savvy hashtag user element of your crowd, of your tribe. And if we had that, then that would mean a stronger connection between us and them. And it also, again, it's getting away from the reliance on an algorithm for distribution, because if they know to seek your stuff out by searching those hashtags, those custom hashtags, then they are closer to you. They are it's more efficient, etc., etc. So build it now, and I don't know why you wouldn't, frankly, because it's a great hedge to do that.
So on the same topic of hashtags, Andy, when do you have any inside scoop? Because I know you have a LinkedIn advisor or creator mode advisor, right? Are eventually those 5 hashtags, if you turn on creator mode, are those going to be clickable in the future?
Yeah, so I don't know that. And when those 5 hashtags were rolled out with creator mode, I was kind of nonplussed, because I don't know of any way that they actually help. To me, they are more advertising type signals than anything that affects either upstream or downstream. In other words, people don't come to you via them,
right.
And nothing that you produce is affected by the dint of having them on your profile. They need actually to be attached to your content to do anything valuable or worthy at all. So I see them.
My clients to do, like,
yeah,
yes, have them put them in there, but then make sure you're using hashtags in all of your posts, because that's targeted eyes on your content.
And in the official blurb that when they were launched with creator mode, they weren't even called hashtags.
Oh, they weren't?
No.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, LinkedIn themselves did not refer to them as hashtags, which of course is interesting, isn't it? It's
yes. All right, we have another question here from William. Is there a difference between liking a post and inserting a comment? Yes, there is. And I'll let you answer that, Andy.
Yes. Well, you go first, and I'll see if I can embellish.
Well, liking a post, especially if you've been a Facebook user or something, I mean, liking a post is just liking a post. All it's doing is giving a thumbs up. It's not doing much. Even, the algorithm says that it might have some benefit, but definitely commenting is far more meaningful, even aside from the algorithm. Anytime you comment on a post with a meaningful comment, you are creating a conversation. And that's ultimately what you want to do. So inserting a comment is great, because and then Andy can speak to the algorithm side, because our fellow colleague Richard Vanderblom has done a lot of research on this too. But liking a post is fine, but commenting is definitely more meaningful. And so if you come at that from the standpoint of like building relationships from an organic standpoint, that's always a good practice.
Absolutely. So exactly what you said. What I usually do is I will, I'll like the post if I'm going to comment on it, and I'll come back to it. And I don't do that to try and trick the algo in some way. It's just a personal device, a reminder device that where I've been, I can go back to my activity section, and I can quickly track down where I've been if I've been a busy boy. But yes, as you said, Kate, the comment whenever you can do it is a much better use of your time, because then depending of course on the comment, that can lead to further relationship building, further discussion in the thread of that post. A mere reaction will not get you that opportunity to spark with your fellow human beings. So sometimes, you know, the best comments also get rated, don't they? They get likes,
Yes.
which is incredible. So in other words, William drops this amazing comment that 85 people liked. Then, you know, not only is he the man, right, but that
Yes.
that goes to the top of the thread. And so it becomes a mini post, that comment. And of course, LinkedIn have started relatively recently to just encourage users to do that, right? If your comment to a post has been so good, hey, well, guess what? You can turn it into a brand new post.
Right. You get that little notification that says, "Oh, start
exactly
a post about this." So it's a nudge.
exactly. So
Whenever
that's already
LinkedIn
been
gives
happening.
those little tools to nudge you, you know, pay attention to them.
Yes, absolutely.
It's almost
So
like a little way
yeah,
of LinkedIn saying, "This is kind of in our algorithm."
right.
A raised flag.
Yeah, so be a commenter more than a liker. Do both, ideally, but definitely comment. Get into those conversations and start finding out about, you know, who likes you, who's interested in you, and, you know, where you can then follow and then connect, or to whom you
Also,
can follow and connect.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Not at all. Carry on.
Also, when you comment on somebody's post, according to the research that Richard Vanderblom has done, is that when you you're gonna, if you do that more regularly, you're gonna start to see that person's stuff more often, and the algorithm likes it. The more commenting you do, the more you know, LinkedIn sees you as being a creator and a well, you know, well-regarded user of the platform, like, because you are trying to build conversation. Do you
So
want to add
that's
anything to that?
yes. So that's a great point, Kate. Thanks for that. So Richard Vanderblom, who's a Dutch LinkedIn trainer, has done something a little different than most. He has been trying to get some kind of evidence about what the algorithm seems to be doing at any given time. So he's produced these 3 annual reports, which I'd encourage anyone on the stream, both live and on the replay, to go seek out Richard Vanderblom and look at his stuff. And he found, and I think this is accurate and makes sense, he's found that with the algorithm really needs a lot of help, needs a lot of direction, and part of that direction includes, let's say you connect with someone. If you therefore just leave it at the connection, and neither you or the other person, the connectee, has any interaction, then the algorithm will think that you're not friends and that you're not relevant to one another. However,
I didn't know that part.
yes, if you connect and then immediately start speaking publicly, I'm not sure about the private side of things, whether or not messaging is part of this algorithm decision making. But publicly, if you start talking with one another, you start liking each other's stuff and having conversations around content, the algorithm will think to itself, okay, these people do have, these two folks do have a connection. If that's the case, we will distribute, right, more of their content to each other. Right. And so that's one of the signals that it looks for. So it's important, therefore, that if you connect with someone and you just don't want to be reliant on the bell, then you should definitely have conversations back and forth. Yeah, so there is that.
Thank you. A few minutes ago, when we were talking about the difference between the bell and the follow button, Adam posted this. Agreed, Andy Foote. One should first follow someone and start commenting on their content or replying to their comments to get on their radar before a connection request.
That's smart. I mean, and Adam probably knows this too. I mean, how frustrating is it to get a no message connection request? It's then forcing us to do the work, which is a bit rude, isn't it? Usually if someone connects, then, you know, they send a note saying, hey, dear Adam, I'm a big fan of yours, and specifically mention something so you can prove that you are indeed a fan, or give something relevant in that connection request that, you know, passes the sniff test. But if you get no such message, then you are forced to go to their profile. Who has time for that? To look at them and to figure out a reason why they've sent this, they've lobbed this connection request at you. One of the smartest ways to do that that, if you are prone to sending no message connection requests, is to start commenting on his or her posts,
Right.
because then they're aware of you. And furthermore, if those comments are meaningful, relevant, interesting, and perhaps even highly rated by other folks with likes, then Adam, myself, Kate, we're going to take notice when or if that connection request comes in. So it's it's a smart strategy, particularly for job seekers, by the way. If job seekers have, let's say, their 10 target companies that they absolutely love to work with, they've identified 5 or so people who are active on LinkedIn within those 10 target companies. They start commenting, right, on their stuff. It becomes a lot easier, therefore, to make an ask and say, hey, listen, the hiring manager in so-and-so is so-and-so, Adam. How would you feel about perhaps mentioning me to him or her, or how do I get on their radar? That's how it works, folks.
It's a domino effect or a snowball effect or whatever metaphor you want to use, for sure.
Yeah.
So Liam just told us that when we were saying, we're nice to see you, he said he's been hibernating at work. He says, but love you both. But he did ask this. What about NFTs?
Yeah, he's
absolutely zero about this stuff. I am not a crypto whatever. So this will talk amongst yourselves on this.
Yeah. So Liam and I are, we're very, 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 very into technology and innovation. We share that, in a big way. But this is a private joke, and I'll reveal it quickly. He is very into the non-fungible token space, whereas I am not. And so the back and forth between him and I via text messages, he'll send me something and I'll say, scam, it's a scam, it's tulips, what are you talking about? Don't ever send any of this garbage to me again. And he keeps sending it.
Oh my God. And he's doing it right here. So we're watching it. We're watching live.
That's exactly what he's doing. He's pulling my leash.
Oh, that's great. Well, let's switch over to I think that conversation that we were having about commenting is a good segue into talking a little bit about creator mode. So I'll just give a quick background for those who may not be sure. Everybody has the option now to turn on what's called creator mode. And long story short, you can pick 5 hashtags that will appear above your below your headline on your profile. But more importantly, there are tools that you can now get automatic access to. So LinkedIn Live is one of them, which you used to have to apply for. That took forever, and we never knew their vetting process. And the other thing is that you get automatic access to newsletters. So I want to talk a little bit. I'm not going to spend as much time on LinkedIn Live. We can touch on it. I'd really like to spend more time on newsletters because, as you know, Andy, you and I have been trying to get newsletters for forever. Newsletters have been out for a while, but it was for the Brene Browns and the Richard Bransons and the Gary Vaynerchuk's of the world, not the Kate Paynes and the Andy Footes of the world.
Right.
And so the template is the same as the article template. If you do turn on creator mode, you will have access to newsletters immediately. But don't just go, oh, cool, I have access, I'm going to start a newsletter. You need to have a plan if you want your newsletter to be successful. I am planning on doing it. I am in the midst of creating my plan, but I'm not going to just see the shiny new object and go throw something up and then not post anything for 3 months. So I think I'm seeing my clients who are signing up for newsletters getting incredible subscribers and quality subscribers. And the people who know how to do this are looking at who's subscribing. They're reaching out to those people, and they're not only getting clients, but they're getting asked to be on podcasts. It's newsletters is something to really pay attention to. So I'll let you take it from here on that. I'd like to get your take.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great synopsis, Kate. Newsletters is, I think it's a game changer for anyone who is able to flex their intellectual muscles via long form content. So in other words, articles. And I'm relieved because for the longest time, and perhaps forevermore, short form, so posts, has been the dominant form, the dominant vehicle to go to market on LinkedIn. So I'm relieved that articles are making a comeback in the shape of newsletters, which can be subscribed to. And furthermore, you can see your subscribers, which is pretty
Finally.
amazing. It's what we were talking about with the bell. I want to see
Exactly.
who's ringing my bell. I want to see who's following my custom hashtag. But with newsletters, LinkedIn have provided that, which is immense. Also, the analytics on newsletters are now more honest because views are confusing. You rack up thousands, or you can rack up thousands of views on your post just because people are scrolling by it in the feed. So
Right.
it's not a view at all. It's an impression, which is valueless. That's why one should never be interested in views, more interested in comments. Always. That's the metric that you should always focus on in terms of how you are measuring or trying to measure the ROI on your content. Is how many comments are you getting, right? How many followers are you getting? You don't get followers by doing nothing on this platform. You
Right.
usually get followers because you've been doing something well or good. But yeah, newsletters is a game changer. It's very important. My tactic with newsletters is I started by doing weekly. I decided, that's really not a good cadence that works for me. So I went to monthly. And frankly, it doesn't matter if you tick the box from monthly or weekly. Your cadence is whenever you are ready to publish.
Exactly.
Just the fact that you went monthly there's no pressure. If you miss a month, that's absolutely fine. So yeah, there's that. What else? I also feel that I want to give them the readers something substantial. So I'm not going to go page after page after page, but it's not going to be a short thing from me. It's going to be perhaps something that maybe posts in aggregate that I decide, okay, these didn't receive enough light of day. I'm going to roll them all together. So for example,
Great idea.
one of my newsletters is going to be all the infographics that I've put out, and I'm going to put them in. And I think I think that would be a good way to repurpose some of those short form content. One I did, I think it was possibly newsletter 2 or 3 of Curious AF, was I synthesized all 3 of Richard van der Blom's reports, but I did it graphically. So I did a grid type system, a card type system where you could see at a glance, okay, what's happened with I forget, whatever, what's happened with hashtags over the years that he's been following, what's happened with SSI, etc., etc. So I decided to do that. So think about how you can aggregate, think about how you can build upon, think about how you can repurpose, but it's really your chance, as I say, to flex your muscles as a long form writer, creator.
Andy, share with people. So when you decide to do a newsletter and you publish, to explain where it goes and how people see it, because it's not something you have to invite people to.
No, it isn't. So it'll go out as a regular article. So there is an algorithm part to it, but everyone who's subscribed to it, and I'll say this with an asterisk, initially, right, you'll get a huge amount of people who will subscribe, because when you first publish that newsletter, LinkedIn will notify a good chunk, this is a very technical term, a good chunk of your followers and connections that this is what you're
First
doing.
level only?
Only the first one. The first one is where you'll see this rapid ramp up in subscriber base, which is phenomenal. So you'll be pretty pleased with that. But then you also do the math, right? So let's say, I'm making this up, let's say I have 50,000 followers, and I have over 50,000. Let's say I got something like 8,000 who subscribed. So that's decent. Would I have preferred more? Absolutely, but that's decent. That's a good percentage, but then it starts to build. So it seems therefore that LinkedIn is either continuing to publicize that newsletter within your follower and your connections, or it's reshares, and it's people who are reading it perhaps for the first time, thinking, oh, okay, I want to subscribe to this. So LinkedIn is good about giving a subscribe button whenever you publish the newsletter. So it's a combo of who initially signed up, the algorithm doing its thing, and potentially LinkedIn still advertising it within your first degrees and your followers. That's what I think is happening.
Okay. So my question is, though, if you publish and the people get a notification that you've created the newsletter, is that only going out to my first level connections, or is it going out to like all of LinkedIn?
No, the notifications would only ever go out to your first degrees
First degrees. Okay,
and followers and
that's what I
potentially
thought. I
followers.
wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that we were
Yeah,
clear on.
I mean that would be amazing if that happened. If it went
Yeah.
beyond first degree, but I can't see that happen. I can't. LinkedIn is very worried, Kate, about notification overload.
Yes.
They had a
Well,
bad
it should,
they had a bad experience when LinkedIn Publishing was launched to the masses,
right.
to the hoi polloi, and people very quickly complained about having notification itis. So they
Yeah.
were getting, they were getting 50 plus notifications a day, and a similar thing happened recently when people did have newsletters and they started going crazy, inviting people
Mhm.
to, as you recall, to sign up. I didn't do that. I thought it was spammy, and I
I did too.
prefer organic in that kind of
Yeah.
in that world.
All right, we're going to take a little station break because Liam has a funny comment for you, and so it has to do with
Uh-oh.
NFTs. Ready? We had to have a little here today.
Yeah. I
Thank
still
you.
wouldn't. I would buy some barbecue sauce and send some hot barbecue sauce to you, buddy, or
All right,
tulips.
so I'm also going to throw you a little wrench in the cog here. So Andy does this weekly show, quiz show, and he does it through LinkedIn Audio. So this is our segue into LinkedIn Audio, and brings people up on stage, and he asks these random questions. I've been the recipient of one, and it was a blast. And so I don't have 16 questions for you, but as we go through, I'm going to so I want to know, if
Yes.
you had not decided to be in the world of LinkedIn, what would you be? And you can't say a lawyer because we all know that you almost were.
Oh.
No.
So I think I would have loved to have been on TV as a chat show host, or some kind of human interest reporter.
Mhm.
I think that would have been a great vocation for me.
And I think you would have been good, and you could have called it The Voice because you have, like, the best broadcast voice ever.
Well, the
You're right up
microphone.
there with, like, James Earl Jones, even Darth Vader.
Why, thank you. Yeah, the microphone. I love my microphone. This thing.
I know, you've got a great microphone. We need to have an offline conversation about your microphone. All right, and one more, this is an easy one. What was the
Yeah.
first concert you ever attended?
So I was very lucky, and I'm not a concert goer, so I was never that. Oh, I've got to see that band so much. I must see them live. I was never like that.
Mhm.
But I've always been into music. My first one was it was an incredible thing. I was living in Germany. So I'm British Forces. I'm a British Forces brat, and somehow we got wind of this concert, and I think we even got free tickets to it. And it was U2,
Oh.
Spandau Ballet.
Oh.
It was Brian, who's the Welsh
Adams?
Brian Adams, and I'm probably missing another act or so. But can you imagine that headline? I mean,
Wow.
so it was a mega concert in that sense, and we all there were, I don't know, 10 of us or so, 10 of my peers, and we got in a minibus, and the whole thing was just amazing. I couldn't believe it.
My first concert was because I just could go, but I didn't wanna go because I could have cared less about the band. 1984, Kiss.
Wow.
Yeah, Gene Simmons and the Tongue.
Jeez.
And I will say this, I could have cared less about Kiss, but it was my first concert,
Oh,
and
wow.
pyrotechnics and everything. It was quite, at that time,
Very
that was a
cool.
very big deal. That was like, holy smokes. So that was a visual
Awesome.
whatever. All right,
Yeah.
so let's segue into LinkedIn Audio. I am so jealous that you have it because I've been waiting so patiently. Explain a little bit about what it is, how
Yeah.
you get it, because right now it's in beta, and then I will also want to sort of like, and how it's different from Clubhouse. But let's start with the basics first.
So it is live audio, and in that sense it's ephemeral. So catch it while you can. If you miss it, then unfortunately it's gone. It's gone forever. You, unless someone has recorded it, and then replayed it for you somewhere, stored it somewhere, and then played it for you somewhere, it's gone. So
Mhm.
you need to turn up if you have, if you have the time, and it's purely voice. So just as Clubhouse has been this phenomenon where people feel free and safe to speak, because there's no need for a backdrop. There's no need to put clothes on to
Don't need to
fix
put
your
makeup on.
makeup, fix your hair, and any kind of reluctance about, oh, I'm not camera ready, or I'm not enough in any sense. None of that. It's all about your voice. So, and then I think it forces people to listen, or it frees people to multitask.
Yes.
Um,
That's what I
and
did when I first started on Clubhouse. I spent about a
yeah,
month and a half, and then I thought, I don't have the time in the day to do
yeah.
this.
So always been a fan. I was a fan of. Were you ever involved in Blab.im?
I
Blab.
remember when Blab came out, and it was like it went away as fast as it showed up. But
Right,
when it
right.
came out, I was an early adopter, like right off
Yeah,
the bat.
yeah. Me too. I dove in. I thought, this is remarkable. What a fantastic social thing.
Yes.
And the thing about live streaming back then is the same thing today. It's instantaneous networking and getting to know your fellow human beings.
Right. What do you
So
think the difference is between LinkedIn audio and I just want to also put out Andy is a beta tester, and I don't know who you paid to make that. Just kidding.
I got
But
lucky.
you're so fortunate that you
Yes.
have been able to do that, and you're doing a great job with all your shows. So even if you don't have access to LinkedIn audio, if like for example, Andy will promote his Vox or his quiz show, and so you can see it once he starts. You can actually go in and see it, and you can see it on desktop and mobile, and so you can participate, but you can't create a LinkedIn audio until it rolls out to everybody. So can you just sort of talk about what's the biggest simple difference between LinkedIn audio and Clubhouse, and any updates you could give us on its accessibility going forward?
Yeah. So the biggest difference is that it's on LinkedIn. And that's a silly thing for me to say, but what I mean by that is this is first and foremost a professional networking website.
Right.
However, everyone who's been paying attention will note that it's become more of a personal, aspirational, any kind of post, anything that you want to share goes on LinkedIn these days, which is very interesting, because it means that we are being more human, and
Yes.
that we are finding different ways to connect and engage. And that is one of the strengths of Clubhouse, and will be one of the strengths of LinkedIn audio. It's fundamentally the same. It's the same concept. And LinkedIn have taken, many things and just, completely, for example, they could have had squares, right?
Yes.
But they went with the circle headshots, right? They could have done aesthetically. They could have done many different things to make it theirs, but they chose not to.
Mm-hmm.
The bobbleheads are too big. You can't see who's on the stage without scrolling. That they probably did that because they wanted to make space for the headline.
Right.
They don't have a chat feature, and that's kind of essential if you want to include the audience, everyone in the room, for them to have a say, for them to participate. You need to have that chat, ideally,
Was
on
there a chat
mobile.
feature in LinkedIn audio?
So
Or is that coming?
there isn't right now.
I didn't think
But
there was now.
no,
Okay.
but the host can set up a chat group and build a back channel, but that needs to be automatic. It needs to be there for everyone, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Well,
But
also,
fundamentally, it's the same.
like you said, it's on LinkedIn. So that means if you look at somebody, you can go to their LinkedIn profile.
So you've
Another
all,
reason, another motivation to make sure your LinkedIn profile
right.
is optimized and
Right.
awesome.
So you've got all of the info that you need to make a decision, whatever that decision is, whether it's to follow or connect, to have a conversation. And the biggie actually is to have that conversation without connecting at all. So
Yes.
just because you're in the room, you can message, which
Right.
is which is interesting because LinkedIn have insisted before that, oh, you've got to pay for InMail if you want to, if you want to communicate with someone you're not connected with. That goes out of the window with LinkedIn Audio. So that's phenomenal.
Yes.
The other thing people need to watch out with LinkedIn Audio is it's both visual and audio. In other words, your headshot, you can look like a ghost. You can, depending on if you haven't got the setting fixed, then they won't be able to see your gorgeous face. So you have to fix that. Otherwise, you can look like someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
So you need
And
to be
that's not
careful
a
with
good first
that.
impression.
First impressions count. Absolutely.
Barry just gave us this LinkedIn audio events, another great way to connect with your network. Not all learning styles are the same. Also, love the radio talk show feel to LinkedIn audio. Maybe that is because Andy is a host, and I would say amen to that.
Barry's the dude. Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, I love it. I try to be a smooth AF, and I don't care if I make mistakes. But
Yep.
first and foremost, I want to make everyone feel at home, and
Right.
that it's their platform, and that's certainly both the shows that I run. I want to put the focus on the person in the chair or on
Right.
stage, and I'm just curious. I think most people are, naturally curious.
We have a question about back to newsletters. This is my friend Tim Richardson. Tim, thank you for tuning in. Tim is an incredible speaker, by the way. He says, any thoughts on building your newsletter list? I started a month ago and have 800 subscribers. He has 5,200 followers.
Yeah, so you have to. Well, congratulations, Tim. First off, you're building it already, and the fact you've got over 5,000 followers, clearly, you're doing something right. I think you have to keep publicizing it wherever you can, without it being, too spammy. For example, you could say, "Oh, by the way," maybe part of a post. You could say, "Oh, by the way, I cover this in my newsletter. If you'd like to know more," and sort of lead them along that way gently. But fundamentally, the best way to grow your newsletter, which is the same for any kind of content where you're trying to build a base, is you must make sure that content is incredibly valuable, incredibly relevant to those folks, and the fact that they can't get it anywhere else. I think once you start doing that, word spreads, and people start talking about you, which is really when the great stuff happens, right? When you are typically mentioned by name. Oh, by the way, Tim Richardson, did you see his newsletter? Who's this Tim guy? Oh, he does this. Yeah, his newsletter covered it. It was really, really good. That's where your reputation precedes yourself. So you must try and nail the quality and relevance of your content.
Great. I'll add one little thing to it too. When I've been working with my clients about them getting started with the newsletters, some of them just said, oh, well, I'll just repurpose my blog on my website as a newsletter. I'm like, well, you can do that. But like what you just said a moment ago, try to put something out that they can't get anywhere else. So if you send out a newsletter through MailChimp or Constant Contact, maybe you want to repurpose that to get more eyes on it. There's going to be a little redundancy, but that might be a better way than just or if you create a long form post in LinkedIn that you can go deeper on, then go deeper on that in the newsletter, because LinkedIn loves long form content. And so if you have long form content, get it out there. LinkedIn's even expanded the characters for the posts. It used to be 1,300 and now it's 3,000. Yeah. So when you see them making these changes, it's because they see the value in the longer form.
Creativity at the end of the day wins all the time. I remember the example, I don't know if you do too, Kate, of the guy who he was job hunting and he came up with this brilliant idea of actually making an Amazon page for himself, right, as a product. And it went viral because no one had ever thought of doing that. No one had seen that. It was so creative and bright and unique.
Right.
That wins at the end of the day. You've got to find a way to stand out. And frankly, that's marketing. It's the best marketing is something that no one has seen or is very clever and intrigues, and that's how you win. That's how you build your profile. That's how you build your list.
That's why I named my business Standing Out Online.
There's
a lot of noise out there, and you've got to be constantly finding ways to do that.
Exactly.
So we only have a few minutes left, and I really want to.
Oh no, it's only been 10 minutes. What's going on?
I want to talk about cover story. So again, I'll set the scene for people who aren't. So LinkedIn came up with this phrase, cover story, which means that you can record up to a 30-second video that will live in your little profile photo on your profile page. Why it's called cover story is beyond me. Andy very accurately, appropriately calls it headshot video. So I've taken that on, and I give attribution to you, Andy. It's a video that goes where your profile photo or headshot is on your LinkedIn profile. And so if people get to your profile, if you notice that this still photo of your profile will automatically silently play 3 seconds of your talking head. And it's an opportunity for you. This is what I teach my clients, is it's an opportunity to say who you are, who you work with, and what you do and how you help. Not just, that's from a personal brand standpoint, that's where I come from. People do all different kinds of things. There's no right and wrong. So that's what it is. And so there's a new change to the headshot video, and you posted about it last week. And so could you just share that with us, please?
Yeah, so the big change, and unfortunately, to get that new thing, you have to upload a brand new, or perhaps the same one, but you do have to put a new one in there. And the change is that you will now get a viewer count on the actual headshot video, so you'll be able to see how many people have looked at that. And it doesn't break it down, by day or whatever, and that's all it is. So we don't know who's doing that or who's looking at it, but you do get that, and that's pretty much it, Kate.
Yeah.
It's still something.
I thought there was a thing now, because it used to be if you had a cover story, there'd be an orange circle. That's gone. Now there's something about a purple circle, but once you've watched it, it goes gray. And I've been trying to test this on everybody's, and it only shows for like a split second, so it's hard to sort of describe it. Do you have a better way of describing that part of it?
No, I think that's just
okay, good.
No, that's exactly it. It's pretty confusing. I think it's a device to say, hey, guess what? Look, Kate has a brand new thing going on here. So it's like it's showing you some color, and it's okay. Well, I guess I'll click on it then. If it's there's this purple bluish ring around it, and then lo and behold, okay, it's a new video for me to consume. Great. And then once you've clicked on it once, it becomes, as you say, this thin gray circle around. It's like, all right, LinkedIn, that's
I know it's bizarre, but strange. I will say a lot of people have said to me, if I turn on creator mode, can I get the headshot video? The headshot video has nothing to do with creator mode.
Completely
it's its own thing. They do call it cover story. I think that's such a misnomer, because a lot of people think when they hear cover story, that means the background banner image.
Right. Particularly as stories went away. It's like,
I know. Anyway, as we're winding down, I would like people to be able to reach out to you. So of course they can certainly reach out to you on LinkedIn and follow you. Andy puts out the best content on LinkedIn.
Wow, that's kind of you to say so.
No, it's very true. I mean, you must just be in constant creation mode. And Andy is also the co-author of this fabulous book called LinkedIn Made Simple: Fat Strategies in a Thin Book. And he has a podcast. So tell us just a little bit. I put a link up there for, oh, shoot. I didn't. Oh my God, that's embarrassing. Okay. I'll put it in the replay.
Don't worry about it. I was thinking, I'm going to have to check out Donna's book.
So there we go.
Yes.
I clicked the wrong one.
Yeah. So footnotes.com, I think I need to start doing again, because I haven't done for a long while. And I've got 3 that have been just waiting for me to actually put out. So yeah, and I've got a list of people that I want to start talking to more intensely. And part of that footnotes thing, there is funnily enough, there are questions at the end of it, which is where my 16 questions idea came from.
Okay. So if people want to get your book, they can get it on Amazon, correct?
Yes, there are 2 books. One with
link, and it was super long, and I was trying to log in, and I was trying to create a bit, but it wasn't working. So, and I can't, unfortunately, on LinkedIn, you can from StreamYard, you can't put anything in the chat.
Right.
So I will on the replay, but can you give us they can go to Amazon and just put in the title.
Go to Amazon, do a search on Andy Foote, do a search on Ryan Roten, RHOTEN, or Josh Steimle, STEIMLE. Josh is another fantastic author, and I was lucky enough to co-author both of those. Absolutely.
Great. Well, Tim is thanking both of us. Andy, I love having you on. I would have you on even more often if you were willing, but I just hope at some point I get LinkedIn audio, and then I would love to be taking my coffee with Kate. on occasion to LinkedIn audio because I still like doing this too. What's really cool about my Coffee with Kate show is that I do archive all of my Coffee with Kate videos. My brand new website's going to be launching in 2 to 3 weeks, and everything is in my YouTube channel. But all of the people I have had on my show have been getting SEO traction from being on my show. In fact, a woman I interviewed 2 months ago got a client from something she researched. My Coffee with Kate show came up and she got a client out of it. So I still love this. Like you, I actually wanted to be a broadcast journalist and I wanted to like have my own talk show. So this is like my way of indulging that little dream.
Absolutely.
and I love it. And I love having great guests like you, Andy. So thank you for having coffee with me today. It was a pleasure. And I'll see you. I guess I'm going to go back to Facebook world because I can't figure out Discord to save my life.
It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. Yeah.
So you're still going to keep that going then?
Yeah, absolutely. There are over 1,000 people in the Facebook community, so it's still going to go strong.
Good. All right. Well, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Kate. Always a pleasure.
Can you stay on for just a moment? I'm going to end the broadcast, but please stay on.
Of course.